Hello and welcome to the Dr. Leaf Show. I am so glad you're here because we're going to talk about when to stay and when to go from relationships, work environments, friendships, situations. There's times when we stick around too long or we leave too soon. So in today's podcast, I'm going to try and help you understand that and help you process this. Before we start, I want to tell you about my new book coming out on the 5th of August that's available for pre-order now. I'm very excited about this. Let me tell you why you need help in a hurry. It takes 63 seconds to catch something before it becomes a spiral and wires into your mind-brain-body network, and before you know it, it's become a habit and a pattern in your life. We need to be more proactive in how we are managing our mind, and this book is filled with scientific tools, techniques that are clinically applied, easy to understand, that will help you to be able to catch yourself in those moments where you just feel completely overwhelmed, burnt out, you catch yourself people-pleasing, you catch yourself in a state where you just want to, run away or punch that person in the face, or you just feel it's too much. What do I do in this moment? That's what this book is going to help you with. It's on pre-order now, and if you pre-order, just go to helpinahurrybook.com. And for the pre-order, there's great bonuses, like you get some chapters in advance, a free workbook, webinar, all kinds of great stuff to help you in a hurry. Okay, let's dive into the podcast. When to stay and when to go. We can be in situations that we are growing, as we know, but we can also be in situations, whether it's work or relationship or friendships, where we actually are not growing, where it's actually destructive. Now, there's a strong reality to this because, as you know from following me on my podcast, and if those of you that are new, my field of study is psychoneurobiology. That means I look at the mind-brain-body connection. Our mind is 99% of who we are. Your brain doesn't drive you. Your mind drives your brain. And your mind is therefore fundamental. So how we use our mind to process life experiences like relationships and work and so on, and how we use our mind to process the experiences that we've had that have become memories, those are all driven by your mind. Your mind is driving your psychology. It is driving your physiology. It's driving your brain. It's 99%. And I'm stressing that because when you realize that, our mind is processing our environment. So a relationship, a friendship, a family issue, a work environment that's toxic, all of this affects us. It goes in through the mind, into the brain, and into the body, and it affects how we show up. It's important to recognize some things need to end. Maybe it's a friendship. Maybe it's a way that you're managing a familial relationship, which is always the hardest with family. It could be a work situation that maybe you can't just stop work because you need income, but ways of understanding what it's doing to you and how to manage them. So there's some basic signals, okay, that you can look out for. And these signals come from the non-conscious part of your mind, the wisest part of you. I've spent 40 years researching this part of you. It's your deep spiritual wise, where all the answers are, connected to whatever you believe. But we spend so much time in destructive relationships or work situations that we don't tap into that wisdom. We stay in the messy conscious mind, which is not bad on its own, but the conscious mind only works well when it's working with the unconscious. But if you're in a destructive environment or relationship and you're just staying there, you're not going to get access to wisdom, and that's going to drain you. And whatever is going on your mind is also building into your networks of your brain and your body. So if you stay in that destructive environment, you are increasing your chance of getting sick. We see that research shows 95% of diseases are lifestyle diseases. How you managing your mind and in a relationship, in a work environment, etc. It really is important to recognize and know when to stay and when to go. So the overarching principle is our non-conscious, wise, brilliant mind that never switches off, drives the conscious mind. It searches through every memory. We have trillions of memories clustered into thoughts. Your non-conscious mind searches the past, the existing memories, and also evaluates the incoming experiences. Kind of mixes it all together. You're not even aware this is happening. It sends messages through the subconscious mind into the conscious mind as signals. And we are supposed to train ourselves to listen to those signals. And you may have heard me talk about them before in different ways on different podcasts and in my books, but honestly, these 4 signals are lifesavers. So The first signal to watch out for, whether you are in a situation where the environment is creating a destructive pattern inside you, setting you up for getting sick physically and mentally, or whether it's growing you and challenging you. Not everything's a bad situation. Not everything if changes are difficult, and I'll give you examples in a moment, but changes sometimes are there to stretch you. And difficult situations are there to stretch you. There is a way to tell if it's stretching and growing or if it's destroying. And that's what we're going to try and break apart in this podcast, okay? So the 4 signals, to come back to those, are your emotions, where you're feeling those emotions in your body, your behaviors, what you're saying and doing, and your perspectives. Those are 4 overarching signals that can guide you through so much, all these different concepts in life. Okay, we're going to look at those 4 signals about when to stay and when to go. These signals are pearls of wisdom from your unconscious mind, trying to get your attention to say, hey, there's something going on that you need to sort out. And if you don't, it's going to, you suppress it, you're going to create destructive patterns. Let me give you an example from my research of what can happen if we don't deal with these signals. We have something at the end of our cells called telomeres, end of our chromosomes. So in our cells, we have nucleus, and in the nucleus, we have the DNA. The DNA is basically wrapped up into chromosomes. Chromosomes look like little X's. So if you didn't understand, think of my finger making an X. Those are called telomeres. And the significance of a telomere is that it is basically going to respond to our emotional state, our mindset, or how we are managing our mind. These telomeres get short and kind of get used up because we make new cells all the time. In 1 second of listening to me, you've made 800 new cells. The quality of those cells is dependent on how you're managing your mind. So literally, if you're in a destructive relationship, you are affecting how well the telomeres work, which is affecting how healthy the cells are that you build. Cells build organs, organs build systems, systems form your body. So therefore, if you are in a chronically bad situation, you are then going to chronically strain your telomeres. This is just one thing, which means that your cellular health, organs and systems are weakening. And over time, that can lead to illness. I've shown with my research that when you manage your mind, you can reverse this in 63 days, regrow your telomeres, okay? So, but coming back to this point now, when to stay and when to go. It's really important that you know when to stay and when to go because of the fact that it has such a massive impact on your mind-brain-body network. We're going to look at those signals. I'm going to give you a broad example and then more specifics. Let's say you are noticing the first signal of emotion, feeling very anxious and very confused. Those are strong emotional indicators. You are in an environment that's destroying you, not building you, creating dysfunction. So anxiety and confusion, those are 2 top ones. Where will you feel that in your body? So the second signal is where those emotions are. Maybe in your neck. I can give you an example. Went through a very massive period of stress in early 2024, and the way I handled that stress got stuck in my neck, literally. I mean, I'm now sitting for almost, it's 12 months later, and I'm going to a chiropractor to try and sort out the impact of that environment and that situation that physically affected my neck. That's an example. Okay, so it played out, that environment played out in my body's signal of affecting my neck. That's an example. In terms of behaviors, so what are you saying and what are you doing? So that could be that you are people-pleasing, compromising your values, doing things you wouldn't normally do. That's a behavioral signal that something's not right about this environment, this relationship, this work situation. And then the 4th thing, perspective. Are you living with an attitude that life sucks, that it's too much, that you just can't go on, whatever? So those are 4 main signals that your unconscious mind is sending to say, please pay attention. And then you do the work of finding the actual thought. Not every difficult situation means you need to leave. Absolutely not. Okay? We've got to be so careful we don't get into this quick fix mentality that the minute you feel something bad, oh, it's someone else's fault and you the victim. It's everything out there and it's nothing to do with you. And as soon as you feel discomfort, you're not meant to go and run and hide. You're meant to evaluate. Okay, I'm feeling this discomfort. Is this discomfort stretching me that I'm actually going to grow? It's a bit of a challenge, but if I push through this challenge, I'm going to be better at something. I'm going to improve as a person. I'm going to develop my character or something. Is it that situation? Or is it a discomfort that is actually destructive? And as I said, not every situation you should run from. If you have the potential to see growth in your life, Excellent. Growth comes from pain. Bottom line. You have to get cut to get healed in a surgery situation. In the work I've done on the healing journey, there's ups and downs. You're going to get worse, you're going to get better, you're going to get worse, and so on. It could be a signal of that discomfort. Those 4 signals could be telling you that you're in a state of discomfort that could lead to growth. The key thing to remember is that when you manage your mind, you are driving neuroplasticity. In other words, if you've been in a bad situation or if you're in a situation that's challenging you, you can grow. You are always changing and you can direct that change. You're never not changing. Your mind is always changing. Your brain is always changing. That's called neuroplasticity and you can direct it. Whether you stay because you're growing, you can use neuroplasticity to direct that growth. Or whether you don't stay and you need to heal from that destructive situation, you're also going to use neuroplasticity to heal any potential damage in your mind, brain, and body. Indicators of when you should stay. Let's talk about indicators of growth. 4 of them. It's a mutual situation. If it's a friendship, is that person prepared to put in the work as much as you are? If it's only you putting in the effort and they're not going to change, that's a time to go, not time to stay. So it's got to be mutual. In a work environment too, it's got to be a mutual situation between you and whoever you're working with. Okay, so there's got to be an effort and a willingness on your behalf as well as the other parties involved to do the work, to make this work. If not, it's time to go. Okay. Second thing, you feel challenged but not depleted. Very key. You challenge and it's hard and there's positive stress, but you don't feel depleted. You don't feel worn out. Discomfort is leading to positive stress. Quick moment here. Stress is good for you. Stress puts you on high alert and activates all your mind, brain, body connection to operate at a very high psychoneurobiological level. And that just means you're going to do really well and find wisdom in the unconscious. But in a dysfunctional situation, positive stress becomes toxic stress. So you don't move forward. You're not getting answers. Your intuition's not coming up. You are operating from anxiety. It's not calm. It's urgent and persistent. That would be negative stress. So if your discomfort is leading to a persistent screaming in your head and a feeling of dysfunction, it's time to go. But if the discomfort is actually it's okay. You feel calm. I can do this. I've got an I can mindset. There's growth. It's going to be hard. Whatever. If it's that kind of thing going through your head, it's time to stay. Can you see yourself getting through this? Have you got this mindset? Can I change my perspective about this? Can I see this person differently? Can I see this work situation differently? Can I see my environment? Can I see this relationship with my family member changing in a positive way? Yeah, I think I can. It's time to say, no, I can't see it at all. It's just impossible. Maybe you need external input, like chat through this with a good friend, a counselor, therapist, whatever. The perspective one, just to make sure, because sometimes we can be in so much depletion and pain that we can't always see the wood for the trees. Can I set new boundaries? Now, boundaries I'm not going to talk too much about now, but I just want to say we've got to be careful we don't do therapy speak and overdo the boundaries and just think because I'm a little bit hurt, I've got to now put up a boundary. It's really overused. We need to have balance and perspective. Remember, intuition is calm, and I've done a whole podcast on intuition versus anxiety that I recommend you listen to as well, which will help you a lot with when to stay and when to go. But intuition around getting the correct perspective is massive. Intuition will give you perspective because it's calm, it's got answers, and it's going to give you clear direction. You're going to see something. You're going to get the perspective. You're going to be able to see things from different angles. But if you're in anxiety, you're not going to be able to see that. It's fast, it's quick, it's confusing, it's all over the place. And if you're feeling like that, then it's potentially time to go. But as I said, just double check, just talk that through with someone else, because perspective is one of those things that's quite hard, and it's nice to get an external opinion as well. A quick summary of the indicators of when we should stay. It's got to be mutual. You feel challenged but not depleted. You feel the discomfort leading to positive stress, and you can reconceptualize. If you can do those 4 things, it's worth staying. Now, when should you go? What are the definite key indicators of when you should go? So first thing to look at is that, have you lost your joy? Is this a consistent thing? Have you lost your joy? Have you lost your creativity? Have you lost that sense of purpose? Okay, joy, creativity, sense of purpose. If you've lost any of those, you're in a situation that's not good for you. Relationship, friendship, work environment, family situation. Second thing, Are you constantly in fight and flight? So in toxic stress, where your adrenaline's pumping, cortisol's too much cortisol, everything's out of whack. And I can tell you this means your cellular and your bodily health is suffering. Are you lots of ailments, lots of headaches, nausea, stomach aches, that kind of thing? Is that happening a lot? It's most likely that you're in fight and flight. Chronic flight and fight will lead to things like stomach issues, digestive issues, and headaches, nausea. Tension. Is your body tense? My neck got really tense to the point where my muscles messed up my cervical vertebrae, and it's getting fixed, but that just shows I should have left earlier. Okay, are you in a state of chronically saying things like, I'm just stressed? Are you saying that all day long? I feel so stressed. I can't do this. If you're finding yourself saying a lot of that kind of thing, so the words coming out of your mouth are things like, I feel so stressed. I've got too much to do. I'm too busy. Let me tell you a little secret as a human. We are designed to be busy. We're good at doing a lot of stuff if we've got our mind in the right space. If you're in an environment depleting you, then even going to the shops, doing a basic exercise, getting your makeup on, choosing an outfit, or putting sunscreen on becomes too much effort. Making decent food, whatever. If little tasks are too hard, and that's an indicator. If a situation is consistently draining you, mentally, emotionally, and physically, so if you feel consistently drained, then that is another indicator. Quick summary of the indicators: if you've lost your joy, creativity, sense of purpose, feeling a chronic state of flight and fright, like headaches, tension, nausea, gut ache. If you feel like you're in a state of constantly saying, I'm busy, I'm too stressed, and not being able to do the most basic things, they're incredibly hard to do. And then also if you are consistently feeling mentally and emotionally drained. And I want to add one more on that I think is really important that I didn't say. And that is if you feel, this is so good, you feel like you have to shrink to fit in. If you as a person are compromising who you are, your values in that friendship, even that familial relationship, and people are saying things to you like, hey, you've changed, you're compromising, whatever. If you feel like you have to shrink something's wrong. That's a really strong indicator that you need to do something about that situation. Okay, so if you've got nothing out of today, I'm going to read some quotes to you that I think are going to just help you immensely in just solidifying these concepts. I hope you have got something out of today, but I think this will just wrap everything up together. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your mind, and you have the power to change your story. Thoughts are real. They have weight, shape, and influence. Choose the ones that build you. Trust yourself. Your mind was designed with wisdom. You already know the answer. You already know whether to stay or leave. If you have to lose yourself to keep something, it was never meant for you. It was never meant for you. Growth is uncomfortable, but so is staying stuck. Choose the discomfort that leads to progress. Thank you for joining me today. Share with someone who needs help about when to stay and when to go. And I look forward to seeing you next time.